Carter. He's a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee and the GOP Doctors Caucus. Buddy Carter, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much. You know, my question, I guess, is if the Republicans were going to pave the way for the Democrats to raise the debt ceiling, couldn't the Republicans have gotten something for it? For example, a cap in spending in 2022. What are we going to do? Just keep spending money and keep raising the debt limit and kicking it down the road so our kids and their kids have to pay massive taxes throughout their lives because they're cleaning up this debt?
Well, that's a great point. And in the past, that is exactly what has happened. We've been able to negotiate and actually gain from this. And keep in mind now, this deal was made in the Senate. This is not something that the House had to do with as far as raising the debt ceiling, allowing them to do that. But you would have thought that we would have gotten something out of it. Evidently, the only thing that Mitch McConnell and the Senate leadership wanted to get out of it was the fact that be able to say that no Republicans in the Senate voted for it. Well, as you noted, we did have one Republican, or a Republican in name, who voted for it in the House. But look, we're not going to be a part of that in the House. And we're not. This is not to pay for existing debt. This is to pay for their socialist infrastructure plan and Build Back Broke plan. So this is not for existing debt.
So what did you make of President Biden last night at that holiday party, the Democrat holiday party? He says that he's confident that the Democrats will win in 2022.
Well, he must know something the rest of us don't know, because, and I love the analogy of the New York Jets and New York Giants. You know you're going to lose, but you go ahead and say all the right things because that's evidently what he's doing. Look, there's going to be a red tsunami in the midterm elections, and we're going to see a Republican control of the House. I hope it will be of the Senate as well, and I'm expecting it to be. But this is lining up to be quite a great victory for Republicans and for freedom and for Americans' freedom.
Congressman, yesterday, Jen Psaki was asked if she could identify what they are seeing as the president's most significant or biggest accomplishment as it relates to foreign policy in 2021. And Jen Psaki answered by saying, well, a great question. I want to talk to the president. I want to be thoughtful about it. I don't know what she's going to come up with, but I know the failures include the border. The wide open border not only has brought 2 million people to America this year who have been arrested, but has also enabled 600,000 others to get away. That's human trafficking, but then there's the drug trade. Customs and Border Protection officers in Texas seized over $3 million worth of methamphetamine, meth, over the weekend. Look at this. This is from two different incidents, both near a bridge that crosses from Mexico into Texas, Congressman. One seizure involved a 20-year-old American woman arriving from Mexico in a minivan where 191 pounds of meth were hidden. It was hidden inside. And then there's fentanyl. Texas Department of Public Safety seized 886 pounds of fentanyl this year alone. That is enough to kill 200 million Americans. Congressman, what is going on? People are overdosing left and right, 100,000 people dead, largely because of fentanyl. Has this president acknowledged these illicit drugs coming in as a result of his wide open borders?
No, they have totally ignored it. And this is what happens when you have open borders like this. We've got enough fentanyl in this country right now to kill every American 7 times over. Now, we can note how much has been seized, but we have no idea how much has not been seized and has come across that border. And don't think for one moment that it's just a border problem and only impacting the border states. These drugs are infesting all of our communities. They're having an impact all across America. And I think people are realizing that now, and they're not going to put up with it anymore. We simply have to secure our border. We have to stop this illegal drug flow coming across our border. It is infesting our communities and killing Americans.
Well, the next time your colleagues in the House want to go along with the Democrats and vote for something like an infrastructure package, maybe they should try to get something for it and say, well, if you want our vote, we want an acknowledgement that these illicit drugs are coming over the border and human trafficking and the border is wide open. But there's nothing like that at all in any of these negotiations, Congressman. So I'm stumped by that. But before you go, you're coming to us from Georgia. I want to get your take on the Georgia election. 2022 is one of those races that we're going to see big change. What's your take on Stacey Abrams running for governor? Now you've got David Perdue trying to unseat Brian Kemp. Your thoughts on the governor's race in Georgia?
Well, first of all, Stacey Abrams represents the values of the average Georgia citizen, about like the man on the moon. The last thing we need is Stacey Abrams in the governor's mansion. We're going to have a bloody primary. There's no question about that. David Perdue, Brian Kemp, both of them very viable candidates. But what we have to emphasize is after the primary, we have to unify as Republicans, and we have to make certain that a Republican candidate gets into the governor's mansion.
All right, Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much, Buddy Carter.
Thanks.
We'll keep following all of that. Congressman Buddy Carter.